Welcome back to the channel. Tune in or ghost out. I think the only thing worse than not having a job currently is having one. And this is coming from someone who is currently unemployed. I know that sounds insane and super privileged to say, but as somebody who's been out of work for some time and has had a chance to step back and look at the system that I left, I can definitely say that I don't regret it. I don't miss waking up before the sun just to get belittled before I even had a drink of coffee, dealing with constant gaslighting and promises of a promotion that never existed, or the constant stripping of your humanity to view you as just a number. And I hope you don't take this as me saying that work is bad, because that's not what I'm saying. Just because I'm jobless does not mean I don't work. I honestly put in more work and spend most of my time doing work than I ever did having a job. But the structure of 9-to-5 job that we're used to in America is holding people back and is literally creating the worst conditions for living. Everything has been shaped around this 9-to-5 system, and just look how terrible the world is. You spend your entire day at work, you get off, and then you prepare for the next day at work, never having the energy to do the things you like but having to do them anyway, running off fumes, not enough sleep, and some of the worst food found in the world, leading to just generally terrible outcomes in your older age. But why is it worse now than ever to have a job? You don't make enough to keep up the illusion. Everybody walks around like they're this great investor or they're just ahead of the curve, but in reality, most people don't make that much. In a world where inflation is just accepted as a norm and you see 2% price increases per month, the average $63,000 doesn't go as far as it used to. Most places are going to require more than $63K to survive comfortably. Take New York, for instance. If you wanted to survive there comfortably, have an apartment and all your other bills paid for, and have money left over to invest and do other things, you would probably need to make like $80K. The affordability crisis and wages being stagnant have led people to needing 2 or 3 jobs to survive. All the advancements that we have, smartphones, how connected we are, and everything that's changed over the years has made opportunity more alive than ever. It also has made it harder than ever to achieve. The same tool that has you doom scrolling and wasting hours of your day is also the same one that can financially free you. The internet isn't just filled with slop, there's a lot of ways to change your life through it. But I think when you give into the 9-to-5 reality, you throw out any other way of surviving out the window. And it's not because you're not creative or you don't know how to do anything else, but you don't have time to think of other ways. This is how it becomes a trap. It takes up all your time, uses up all your energy, and depletes all your emotion, having you live your life after work as just a husk of who you actually are. One of the ways our generation would rebel against the work system was the idea of quiet quitting, and I am very guilty of this. The last year I was at my job, I practiced this very heavily, and it wasn't out of malice or hate for the job, but it was more so just feeling lost in my life. I remember feeling so confused of where I was, because on paper I should be doing better than I am, but having to face the reality that my money just wasn't really worth as much as I thought it was kind of hard to deal with. As I said, the average salary is $63,000, and that's up from $58,000 a couple years ago, and before I left my job I was making about $60,000, but I never felt like I had enough to get ahead. This made me do things that I would never do otherwise, like get into debt and pick up generally bad money habits. Instead of letting my money be a source of power and upward mobility, I spent it recklessly, trying to chase a feeling that the job was taken away from me, having to do more on the days that I was off because I missed the things that happened on the days that I was working. And I'm not trying to complain, everybody has to go through this. You know, you have a birthday party and you have to leave halfway through the party because you have to work, or you have to miss it entirely because you have to work. Like, it's just part of life. I get that. But the 9-to-5 system just has a way to break down your mentality so quickly. Like, you'll have somebody who's 18, ready to tackle the world, and then they'll work at like one job and immediately just hate work. And it shouldn't be like that. There should be gainful employment for people. And I know before you tell me just go to the trades, it should be more than just the trades. I'm not trying to shit on the trades, but it also has its downsides, just like anything else. But nowadays, that 18-year-old isn't going to get some job at his mom and pop shop that teaches him the importance of hard work and a hustle. He's going to end up at a McDonald's or a Pizza Hut or a Domino's. I don't know if that makes sense, but all these jobs just feel like they don't have any real purpose. And those are just the low-skill jobs. When you look at the office jobs, those feel even more garbage. It's gotten to the point that most of the people who do that job are the LinkedIn bros, where 90% of the work is AI generated and the emails are fake and the conversations aren't really being had. It's like, what happened to meaningful employment. People used to work for groundbreaking companies, and I guess those are still out there, Nvidia, OpenAI, but that's not the average person's career. Americans back in the day used to make cars, we had a booming manufacturing sector, and it just felt like we were more than consumers. But nowadays, it feels like you get a paycheck just to put it right back into the system. You don't get to keep any of it, you don't get to build wealth, you just get to come in and drink the black coffee. I'm not saying abandon work completely, don't ever get a job. I'm saying if you've ever had any thought on betting on yourself, pursuing something that's outside of the norm, then do it in any form, no matter what that may look like. For me, it was leaving my job and finding out what I needed to do. For you, it might be working your job while you do your thing. But whatever it is, don't stay the employee. Becoming financially independent won't happen overnight, but every day you push that goal back, the harder it becomes to achieve. How long can you put the fries in the bag before you try something else? If life is pain, why not go through the pain of doing something you love, or at least trying to? I'm not saying that this path is well defined. It's bumpy, there's no rule books, and it could lead you anywhere. But the predefined road leads you to unhappiness. It leads you to filling voids with drugs and substances and bad behavior, getting comfortable with gluttony and never exercising restraint. I think it goes back to that saying, you can give a man a fish and feed him for a day, or you could teach a man a fish and feed him for a lifetime. It's easy to point the finger at the boomers, and honestly, I don't blame you. But the longer you turn to them for your problems, the less action you take today, and whatever opportunity is present will just pass you by. The worst thing that happens is you fail. While it sounds scary, it's something you have to do to learn regardless. At least if you do, you can throw it on your resume as experience for the next job. But not trying, that's the scariest outcome of all. But what do I know? I am unemployed guy playing Call of Duty, and maybe I need to get a job. If you agree or disagree, let me know down below in the comments. I do read the comments. What will the future of work look like? Because currently I don't see it being the 9 to 5. Like and subscribe to join the thread. And with that being said, thank you for tuning in. Until next time.
Transmission complete. Signal terminating. This is Ghost Thread, signing off.